That's what happens when you push the button.
It does.
We open up to a
Always
world
looks
out there.
So funny. It always looks so funny. It always.
Yeah. But
Always.
not you, us. We're looking at us. You guys always look the same.
Such a weird screen
You guys
to look
look
at.
wonderful every single time. Well, guess what? It must be that time again. It must be
It is.
that time of the week when we do the What Really Matters. What? And What Really Matters focuses on what really matters in life and marriage and God,
Yep.
and not in that order.
What's the most important thing that really matters?
God. His will and His way, His word. And those are the principles of which we guide our conversations, because we found that those principles lead to the wisdom that guides you through most of life's trials.
Right?
It also guides you through all of the successes. It's wonderful to have the same guide for the bottoms and the tops, because it delivers you both ways and promises you everything. Promises you success, promises you everlasting. And it's all based on relationships. So that's
Yep.
what we talk a lot about is relationships here. And guess
So,
what?
what is today?
Must be... You like anniversaries.
I do.
So this must be a 1-year anniversary.
It's a 1-year anniversary
The
celebration.
baby's 1 year old.
Yes.
What's
and we're-
1 year old? What's really matters? That's what's
What
1 year
really
old.
matters is 1-year old today.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing it for a year. We've got a long ways to go, but I feel proud of what we've done. So we're having a giveaway.
Giving away. She's
So-
giving me away.
We
No,
are
not doing that.
going to give away a $50 gift card. You have a week to share our videos and our page. Invite your friends to like our page. And, once I will tally whoever has it the most. And that will be the winner. And we will either, if you're close to us, we'll deliver it. And if you're not, then we will just mail it out to you.
There you
So y'all get to cracking, sharing the video, sharing the page, inviting people.
Oh, trust me.
And,
We know. We see it.
Because
We can see
we
all
really want
behind
it
the
to
scenes.
start going. So welcome to What Really Matters tonight. Hopefully this is, we're working on trying to make sure we keep it under 30 minutes. We've gotten it down from an hour to an hour and a half down to 45. So, hey, we have made lots of progress.
Yep. And guess what? You're Michelle and I'm Todd.
I'm trying to get to that.
I was doing it.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying we got it in here. And guess what? That's what we do each week. Come here. Just wanted to make sure you knew I was Todd. Not Hot Toddy this week.
Hot Toddy is here. Let's just get started.
All right. Today
See,
we're going to
that had
talk...
a big M on it. You had that with M's, and that was mine.
No, I didn't correct yours, yeah. Today's topic is what every man needs from his woman.
Yep.
What did we talk about last week?
What every
Woman.
woman needed from her man.
Yep.
So
we're going to flip sides this morning.
Right.
What-
This evening.
Right. What did I
is
say?
wrong with you tonight?
I don't know.
You said this morning.
I did. What does a man most want?
I don't know. You're a man. You tell me. What do you most want?
Well,
I mean, I know what society is going to say that men want, but that's not necessarily the right answer.
What, hubba hubba?
That's it. Just
That's it?
walk around naked all the time and, that'd make you happy. That's what it's supposed to be, to have their women just, I'm just saying, that's what society seems to think.
Well, in
So
actuality,
you tell me, what do men want?
in the studies of relationships, they've discovered, and just boil everything out of it, it boils down to men most want to be admired and respected by the woman he loves.
And it's funny because that went hand in hand with last week, because she wants to admire the man that loves her.
Right.
Isn't that funny how God works that out?
Just kind of
We want what the other is supposed to be giving. Oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you recognize these particular characteristics of successful relationships, reflect on your relationship with your spouse, and these principles will hopefully lead to inner knowledge and communication and better working relationships. I mean, it just it's kind of amazing. One proof. Yeah. Contempt is devastating to a marriage. When a woman shows contempt towards her man... Oh, you want me to do the contempt thing?
No, whatever.
Anyway, contempt is devastating to a marriage.
Quit the live and start over. This is like...
You wanted to...
Go. Just keep going.
Anyway, we're talking about contempt. Is it devastating to a marriage?
Before we're getting into what the man wants. There's several things the man wants. This is something that's going to be very harmful to your marriage, and this is for women who they don't respect their husband, so they don't show respect to their husband, and they hold him in contempt. And what does contempt mean?
Well, contempt is the feeling that a person or a thing is beneath consideration.
Right.
Belittling, worthless.
Right. Which is why I didn't like being with women who sat around and talked about their men all the time.
Right.
And were husband bashing, because I did not like that. And I do think there's a time women need to get together and kind of talk about things, because not always is he going to be everything that I am needing. And I think we're not on right now. So...
It says we're not, but we don't know what happens when we get an orange ribbon across the top.
It's right here.
Yeah.
So, do you want to turn it off and start over? Nope, it's there again. We're back!
Well,
so we
can
see it back. Okay. So we kind of stopped there because it kept saying it was recording. So
that's why we were so distracted earlier.
We're having a hard time with our Wi-Fi tonight. Sorry about that. Okay, so women that find their husband in contempt, like they just their husbands are there's a problem, and there's a problem in the relationship, and when that happens, that's actually almost as devastating or more devastating than can be somebody having an affair on their relationship.
Right.
Because that will absolutely kill the man from being a man. I mean, it just totally castrates him, so to speak. I mean, it does. Yeah. And so that's something you have to be very careful about. Okay, so I'm done with that part. I'm just warning the women to not be don't be ugly to your husbands. Don't be disrespectful. We have a funny story that's not so funny about me accidentally being disrespectful to my husband the other day. Made it a big, bad, horrible thing, but we'll talk about that later.
Is it really that much later? I don't know which one you're going to put it under, but...
I don't care. Just start going.
Well, one of the first things we want to talk about, finally on track here, is better communication. Better than what we're doing up until now. So, in every relationship, in almost every episode we've done up until now, communication is at the core of its successes and failures. You generally don't ride in the middle. You generally are sliding one way or the other at all times. And learning to have a better quality of communication is the essence of actually establishing and maintaining the relationship.
You mean I can't just barge into the room and start going...
It probably doesn't work too much.
That's not going to get you to respond?
No.
No?
Probably get a reaction instead of a response.
True.
If you're definitely technically speaking, you're always looking to respond to things, not react to things. So obviously when your communication skills are attacking or a little violent in nature or sarcastic or, down in the mouth, you tend to get it back. So what kind of communications we're talking about are going to work away from those types of things.
Women, don't go to your men and say, "Oh, baby, we need to talk."
Right.
Because as soon as you say that, he's going to tune you out and decide that this is going to be a really bad conversation.
A long one.
And it's going to be long, and then he's not going to listen anyway. I mean, he's going to shut you down right there. Men and women communicate differently, and one of the things that okay, so I'm going to just tell on us. One of our big things when we were younger was the only time I could ever get him to talk was at night after we went to bed. and because he was at work all day and evening and stayed away. So when I wanted to talk was the only time I had him near me. And then he would be like, just go off the flippin' deep end because we were going to talk all night because I needed to resolve some stuff.
What kind of manipulative trap is this?
But it was not. It was all I could get from him at the time.
Right.
So we learned, okay, to communicate differently. So instead of me kind of attacking or trapping him into a conversation, I've learned, over the years that what I do most of the time is, okay, here's what's going on with me. I'm going to talk about me right now. This is how I'm feeling.
Right.
This is why I'm having a problem. This is not about you being a jacknut today, which is what I would have done in the past. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, so I'm using the I. So now he's kind of concerned because now he's going to be more concerned over what's wrong with me versus, if I'm pointing my fingers at him and saying, you need to change. You have this, you need that. He's going to be like, whatever, woman. So you have to be careful with that. And the other thing we used to argue about all the time,
there it comes,
this was huge. I would say something and then he would repeat it back to me. And I would get so flippin' ticked off.
I couldn't understand it.
Because he's correcting me. And it's like, why are you correcting me all the time with what I'm saying? And the reality is all he was doing was repeating it so he was understanding it. And when I realized that, I learned, okay, so not attacking you, I have this, and he's going to say, oh, okay, so this is what I'm hearing.
I hear you saying.
This is what I'm hearing you say.
Or I understand.
Or this is, am I understanding? And so once we got into that rhythm, now it's very easy to go to each other with needing to communicate on a much safer basis, except for this last week we had one big, huge blowout, a major, massive blowout due to lack of communication. Lack of communication. Are y'all hearing me? So we'll be done with communication here in a minute. First, it's, don't be blaming, don't be accusatory, discuss quietly what you need, don't manipulate, don't trap, that kind of thing. Listen, say, I understand what you're saying. But then when something is said or done that bothers you, you need to talk to your spouse. Because later in the evening, when your spouse decides that she's going to help address something that you asked questions about, you are going to attack her, which is what happened with us the other day. I said something that apparently hurt him, but I didn't know because I was just making a joke like he always does. And then he asked in the afternoon, he started asking some serious questions about, making plans in future and things like that. So him and Weston come in here and watch TV, and I'm in the room and I'm playing games and thinking and praying and doing. And then when he comes in, I just start talking to him because this is what's all been going on in my head, right? For the last hour and a half, 2 hours while he's watching a movie. And oh my goodness, he loses it all over me. What? I cannot believe. And I'm like, where did this come from?
You can tell by my demeanor, I would never do such a thing.
Oh, when he does do this kind of thing, it's huge. That's why I was just like, I was shocked. But then it turns out later, as he started talking and sharing kind of loudly what the problem was, he brought up what I had said earlier in the day at, 10 hours earlier. And that's when I went, oh my goodness, bingo. Now I know what the problem is. But once I knew that, we could address what the situation was. Because what I said was kind of a joke and flippant. It wasn't even, and it wasn't really meant to be what he took it to be. You know what I'm saying? And but if he had said something earlier in the day, we would not have had this big kaboom. Y'all remember our kabooms? Yeah, we had one. Yeah. And so lack of communication is kind of a problem in and of itself as well. I'm just saying.
Right.
Okay, so we can keep going on. Communication's
ironically,
big.
as the closing of this particular segment right here for the communication, I had written a note here that men do not understand hyperbole. Now, we operate in it all the time. And
yes.
I even was
but
very
if
much...
their wife does it,
no,
not going to work.
So a lot of times men will exaggerate and just overblow something in order to make a point.
Well,
but it's never in direct relationship to the relationship here. It's always with the guys. You're doing something, being silly and goofy. But when you use hyperbole as a way to actually communicate, you do it to joke or to make an absurd point. There's never really an absurd point when you're trying to actually work out a detail in your relationship. So the hyperbole is for men and women, because I proved that you can do it for men just as well.
Well, the funny thing is, because the statement I had made, which was a joke, and it was around other people, so it was in public, is not anything any different that he'd been doing for the last 30 years with me. I just don't ever do it toward him. So this was like a first for him. It was a slice, and it wasn't even intended to be. But the whole point I'm trying to make with this one is he should have communicated to me when we got home, hey, what was that about? And then I would have been like, nothing, and then we could have discussed it, and we wouldn't have had the big boom.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, moving on to the next one.
But when he asks you what that's about, going, nothing, probably isn't the best way to start.
We're not giving details, but I mean, just like we talked on Sunday night, it was just like I told you, I was just being flippant and funny. There was nothing behind it.
Right.
You took something behind it.
Right.
Okay. So men do want communication, and they do want good communication, believe it or not. And I know that
I definitely found that most, we get into a situation where men don't like to talk a whole lot, and that's generally because it doesn't lead down a good path, and that's why we're talking about
because the women are
communication.
Always,
so that's why we get the let's talk or any kind of talking. It always leads to why we as men are inadequate, and it's like it's not a conversation we want to have.
Right, and that's why women need to learn to not do that. They need to, and that's. I mean, we're going to beat this dead horse, but I come to you and say, I need this from you. That doesn't mean you're doing something bad. That just means my needs are different than what you have been doing.
Right. We found that if you just address it, it really leads to the next topic, which ties this together, which is respect. Right.
Men would rather feel unloved than to be disrespected, and especially.
That sounds crazy. Say that again.
Men would if they're choosing, then they want to feel loved.
Right.
But if they're choosing respect or feeling loved, they want to feel respected and not loved. Women want to feel loved. Now, I'm here to tell you, I want some respect, too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm just saying, how many times have I told you that there's no respect for me in this house?
We're not saying that at all. Right.
That's not, they do kind of go hand in hand for both partners. But men would actually be okay with feeling unloved as long as that person respected them.
Right.
So the big thing is you need to show them respect, and that includes.
I think it kind of means that love and respect are like this.
They do go hand in hand.
But
he needs to have it
because we have so little else down on the ladder. These two things right here at the very tippy
you have
top.
So little else. Really?
Yeah. No, I just mean in terms of down the list. These are the things that they pay attention to: love and respect.
They are. They're huge.
After that, the rest of it's just small dust.
Well, and everything we're talking about actually all kind of goes together. But when you show your husband respect with your children around, with others around, whether you're alone or not, because I know there were times that even when we're arguing and we were by ourselves in our room behind closed doors, that I probably said some disrespectful things to him. Did that mean I disrespected him? In that moment, yes. Did I really have disdain for him? No. So we have to be careful with how we're expressing ourselves. Men, they deserve the respect privately and publicly, and don't make it two different lives. He knows. He knows what you're doing, woman. He knows if you're out talking about him behind his back, but he also can tell with how his children respond to him. And so for him, now there were definitely times that I said and did things that were probably disrespectful to him in front of the children. Just
had that.
Saying. I'm not a perfect person.
As we learned growing on, I actually would even ask when you would go out with the ladies or the church or whatever and say, hey, was there any
husband bashing
of that stuff going on? Just
and
curious.
I won't do that. I won't hang out with people who do that. But you can see even now today, his sons and his daughter all look up to him and respect him, which means you can tell that there was a level of respect in our home for the man of the house. And that's really something that should be shown. So we want really good communication, and he wants respect. He also wants your undivided attention. Undivided attention, ladies. That means put the kiddos to beddo. Turn off the TV, turn off your phones, turn off your
Wait,
iPads.
that sounds contrary, because the stereotype is that the men come in, flop on the couch, and they just watch TV.
And they do, but they
sure
still
do.
want time with their woman. Which means men, you need to help get the kids in bed, help do the dishes, help cook.
There we go.
Let's get the kiddos to bed at a decent time, 7:30 or 8 o'clock. Hey, Josh, we are thankful for you. Get the kids to bed. Make sure you...
And that's part of the communication that we were talking about, was if you want that undivided attention,
right?
how are we going to get that?
Right, let's
we're going to
work out a
mutually work
routine.
together to get this, so we can make some time for hubby hub.
Right. Well,
to get his
and here's the thing.
Attention.
Sometimes, and this is going to go into another thing, everybody's like, oh, y'all are talking about the alone time. And my kids growing up, oh my gosh, the whole time they were growing up, we're like, you're going to bed because we need some alone time. And they're all like, y'all are so gross. We don't mean it like that. Although, that's okay. That is not necessarily what we mean. We mean you just need to chill together. So even at night right now, like his back's been hurting. So we go to bed, which this is our routine every night. And if we don't do this, it really kind of, it gets to me and I start feeling disconnected.
Right.
And that is where we lay in the bed together and I'm laying on him and he's got his arm around me and we're watching TV together. But we always make sure we spend time talking. We read the Bible. We try to pray. We do things together that make the relationship. And if we skip those, because when your back's been hurting for the last week or so, there's not been so much of the holding. I feel disconnected and I don't like that. And we're together 24/7, so it's not like he's not getting my attention, trust me.
Right.
But that's still a big deal.
And part of that undivided attention is that we always try and make a closing to every day. And we don't do it every single day, but we used to really try and do it, and I've kind of got different, something like my back was hurting, so I roll over, I'm facing the wrong direction, I fall asleep and blow the night. But there's there's generally a closing of the night with "and I love you"
every night. We say
kiss,
good night and I love you. Yeah,
and go our way.
Right.
And it's that kind of touch word relationship establishes the reconnection before you disconnect for the night.
Yeah. Okay, so he wants quality time. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's what it is.
Okay, he wants good communication. He wants respect, and he wants your undivided attention. And when you do that, then he has... What does he have, baby?
He's got it all ready to go for some quality time.
Quality time, especially when that's his love language. And believe it or not, there's a lot of men who are quality time. Not all of them. But they just want to know you're there with them, even for just a little bit. They just want to make sure...
I thought it was pretty rare, but as I'm discussing with more and more people,
there's a lot of quality timers.
Yeah.
I'm not one, but I'm happy with it. Trust me, I'm good with quality time, but just touch me and say, oh, you're so pretty. Those things, that's what really does it for me. Okay, so quality time.
Well, a lot of times quality time means a lot of different things to different people, but many men would ask for quality time alone with their wife.
Yes.
Wife.
Yes, but why don't they? Why won't a man ask a woman for quality time?
Many times, it's laziness on the man part. Got that. That one's easy. But the
other... without bashing the men,
but
why do men feel like they can't ask their woman to just spend some quality time with them?
They would... Well, a woman won't initiate it, which makes the man feel like there's a rejection in standing.
Right, but he also feels like the wife is usually the one who's taking care of the kids and the laundry and the kitchen and the cooking and the house.
So let me just ask for one more thing.
And let me ask for one more thing.
It's
You're already doing everything for me.
Never stopped me 1 minute.
Not at all, ever. No.
She could be in the middle of three things. Hey.
Come here, baby. I need you to come and sit down for a little bit.
If I ever want to see myself, I just go see my oldest son, and I'm like, I laugh because it's like, oh my goodness, that's funny.
Yep. He is you. Dead out. 100%.
I don't really see it. Well, he's way more honest about it than I am.
Yeah, well,
he throws it out there.
Yeah.
Young.
Okay, so he wants quality time, but he also wants romance. So last week when we were talking about women need romance, we are talking about the I love yous and just the sweet nothings and the buying the flowers and spending time together. We're also talking about romance where you're making love and having sex, and it doesn't all have to happen all the time. It all is on an ebb and flow, and you just make sure, ladies, your man may want some flowers. Believe it or not, if I showed up with a plant or flowers for him, he loves it. It's hilarious. His dad thinks it's so funny. But, so, you know.
Yeah, every Easter or so, it's like, oh, it's tulip time.
Oh, I always buy him tulips. So
until they open up all the way, then they're ugly.
Right. Well, you want to make sure that you do show romance to your husband. And when women hear that we're supposed to show romance to our husband, a lot of women kind of like,
what kind of romance are you talking about here?
Yeah, that's what that's talking about. That's why, and they kind of, and really, he just wants you to, you know, rub his shoulders, tell him how handsome he is, let him know you love him. Those are the kind of romantic things we're talking about as well. So romance works for men actually as much as it does for women. It goes both ways. It shows him that you love him and that you respect him. Because trust me, if you don't respect him, you're not showing him any romance.
That's true.
You're not. So,
and
okay.
And I just want to, you know, in terms of the way a woman visualizes romance and a man's visualization of romance, since men are more physical in nature and visual, that those things are a little bit different than, it's not a harlequin thing that the guy's necessarily looking for with this, oh, you know, ooey gooey, but they don't mind that either. But I find most of them are looking for that relationship romance stuff. You know what I'm saying. Well, that's not just that.
That's my point. Not all. Yeah. That's not what I mean. You're happy with the fact that I buy you the tulips, or I let you sit out here and watch your stupid TV shows that I don't want to watch. I mean, even that's romantic. I mean, come on, ladies, think about what is something that's going to make him feel loved. That's romance.
Right. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's a different kind of romance.
So everybody has a different thing. Learn your man. Find out what makes him feel loved. To do those things.
That's what I was trying to say.
That's what you need to do. Just like the men need to do it for the women. But we're talking about, ladies, you need to learn your man and do this for him.
And that romance might lead to
the next topic of
physical affection.
Yes, which is another five love languages. We've already got quality time, and now we have physical touch. And so the reality is, ladies, the men need to be touched too. Not all of them want, you know, that's not for all men. Again, get to know your men. But like, we hold hands everywhere we go. You know, we already discussed the fact that when we're in bed at night, he holds me. Those little things of having some time together that gives you, you know, give him a big hello and a kiss. One of the big things that I tried to do, this just came to me. So a few years ago, when the kids were kind of, you know, they just kind of owned the moms for a while, right? And then moms got to remember, when dad comes home, it was so funny because he would walk in and Drayton would say, "Hey, Dad," you know, and all the kids were like, "Hey," and that made him feel really good. Do you remember that when they were teenagers?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so mom just kind of...
No.
Yeah, but I just kind of would go away. Well, I finally got to where every time he came home, I made sure I gave him a big kiss. And he was kind of like, "Hey, you know, what's that for?" "Well, just because I loved you and I missed you. You were gone all day." You know, but it meant a lot. When he told me that, just hearing Drayton say, "Hey, Dad," every time I come home, and then when the kids went to school and they didn't say that anymore, he cried as much as I did. But even, and then when we moved over here, I mean, 4 or 5 years ago,
right.
I made it, you know, and now we're like empty nesting, and it's, well, we still have one, but still basically empty nesting. I was making sure, ladies, sometimes physical affection is just, you know, just touch him, give him a big hug. He just wants you to hold him. He just wants a kiss, you know, touch him in places and walk away and flirt and have a good time. That's what your guy needs.
Places.
In places. Okay. That's what I'm saying.
And that leads to the most unlikely one that people would ever think of. And I gave this topic to her.
Okay, well, not like I don't talk enough. Okay, so there are some men who do a lot of the work around the house. Believe it or not.
I'm going to have to leave for this.
This one, not so much, but that's okay. Y'all know that already. But when he does do work around the house, it should be my job to offer to help him in whatever he's doing. Because I would expect the same in return from him to me. If I'm having to cook and clean every night without any help at all, then and then I ask him to, and I'm expecting help, then I think it's fair when he's cooking and cleaning that I get off my duff and go help him. So the reality is, whatever he's doing, you need to help him. Unless he tells you to go away. Sometimes that is the help, because there's times I don't know what I'm doing, and he's just like, if you get away from me, I can do it way faster.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone, quit talking to me. Because y'all know I just chat.
You're just adding steps to the process.
And so he'll do that. But even today, on your phone at lunch, I was able to do your office stuff and put your signature in and all these kinds of things. So whatever it is that you can do to be the helpmate to help, that's what you do to help him.
Well, that's
it's
good.
Really simple.
The thing at lunch today was a good point as well, and I don't mean this in the, you'll know when I say it, the wrong way. And this is the right way. I asked her because it would be helpful for me if she, while I was doing something else, if she could fix this on my phone, because it had to do with the signature.
I offered to do it at lunch.
So
He didn't
asking
have to ask.
to have that happen alleviated me from something else that was happening at the time. Or if I had a small desire in my head, like I did, which was, gosh, I just have never made time of my own to do this.
Can you just get it done when you do yours? Because I was doing mine too.
Whenever you're doing this, can you do this?
Right. It's just helping your
man.
man.
But if you didn't ask,
but he doesn't,
and you
always
still
have
felt
to ask
resentful
you.
for like, I don't know why she just doesn't ever do this for me, then that's your fault.
Well, yeah, men, ask your woman for help. Women, when you see that he's cooking or cleaning or doing laundry or doing yard work, offer to help. And if he says go away, which mine does sometimes, because he does the kitchen occasionally, and when I'm talking about he does the kitchen, I mean he strips out the refrigerator, everything comes out, everything comes apart. I stay away, and he tells me to, and I'm just like, what? Because now my kitchen's going to be super clean.
Because I'm not going to clean while I'm cleaning.
Thanks, Angelica. Okay, so he wants, let's recap a little bit. So better communication, respect, your undivided attention, quality time, romance, physical affection, your help, and now he wants your support.
Gosh, we're just asking for more and more and more and more. I don't even think men are worth the effort.
Right?
I mean, what is the deal?
You are worth the effort.
There's a lot of work going in here.
Well, the thing is, see, last week
work
we
that
talked
a guy
about
never sees.
Last week we talked about what the women needed from their men.
And
if the men do this, what?
Didn't seem like a whole lot. This seems like a lot.
Women are better than men. No, not really. I'm just playing, because we talked about that last week too. Men are different than women.
They're just needy.
And men are big babies. No, I'm kidding. There are some.
Some are.
Some are. I've met some that are, but not all. These are just different ways. And here's the deal. They kind of all lead together, because if you're helping him, you're supporting him.
Right.
When you're loving him, you're showing him respect. All of these things the communication is a big one that people have to learn. And which we can help you with. We've got some forms and things. If y'all have a problem communicating, let us know.
Yep.
Because that part we got down.
But underneath the support mechanism, the one thing that jumped out at me was, and I have stars next to it because it's important to me, in a little bit different way of support, is let him know you support him and the things that he does and or the things he thinks are important in life, in his career, and his
the things
everyday.
he's passionate about.
Right.
And I can tell y'all, I have a hard time with one of his passions. I really do. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't like it. And I have a hard time, but I support it, and I'm behind you 100%, baby.
Yeah. I mean, so...
He's a little political, if y'all are friends with him on Facebook. I'm just saying. And I'm okay with politics, and I think everybody should be able to talk about it. There's a gnat flying.
I saw it.
Make fun of me.
They couldn't see it, so I was just going with the thing.
Telling y'all it's going to be Sunday all over again. We're just going to explode right here. Anyway, my point is, what I tell him is, I don't have a problem with your politics. Maybe I don't care where anybody stands politically. Just make sure you express yourself in love and maybe share other things besides just politics all the time. that's really my thing. I'm not saying get away from the news and the politics.
No.
I support that
Right.
because that's what he's passionate about. But I'm trying to redirect him so that it's a little more,
Palatable.
loving and kind, because it may not come across that way. In his mind, he may not see that it's not. So I'm actually supporting that passion by trying to help him see it from somebody else's point of view. Does that make sense? I'm being a helpmate.
Trying to say is that you lead into the next topic with affirmation.
Yes.
That was a good segue.
Yeah.
there you
So
go.
we've got affirmation. So why is affirmation important? For the love language. Of course, we're covering basically the love languages here. We've already got the quality time. We've got the physical touch.
We're just showing
and
how
now
they
these
tie
are
in.
affirmation, and this all ties into. And I'm a words of affirmation person. He could care less. I can sit here. Well, he does like it, but it doesn't really feed his love tank.
Right.
I'm
awesome.
So he doesn't do it,
Right.
and that's my love
If
language.
she stops saying how awesome I am, I just pick up where she left off. I'm awesome.
Yeah, he's all over that. He can do that. Okay.
I can do that. I can feel that.
So we are actually almost done.
Yeah.
We've told y'all everything that really a man wants from his woman. And women, be very respectful, be very loving, be very sweet and kind, be very supportive, communicate without attacking, let him know gently what you're going through so he can, because believe it or not, your man really wants to help what you're going through. And even if what you're going through is caused by a failure on his part, if you can gently let him know this, then he will be able to take care of it. If you attack him, trust me, I know. I've been there and done that. All he's going to do is, shut down and not talk about it. So
Right.
just, communication is really your big, big, big one. But now we want to get down to the whole point of this is a woman wants to admire her man, and he wants to love the woman that admires him.
Right.
God just kind of made this thing happen, that we both have that desire. I want to admire and respect him, and I want his love.
Another good segue,
So-
because that lines me up to put in where one of the things that we didn't write down but was implied. I want to make sure it's not implied at all at this point, which is in order to be an admirable man in the relationship, you have to have admirable qualities. And
Right.
number one at
That's
the
what-
top of
yes.
the list of that, not on this list here,
Okay.
before we get to this carnal list,
Okay.
is the spiritual list,
Right?
is that a godly man is the most admirable man.
True.
And that is the thing that knocks the top off of everything else, because she knows if you're connected directly to God, that you have that relationship, that she can trust your decisions, your thoughts, your concepts. She knows they're driven by a higher force. She doesn't have to wonder what the deal is with any kind of politics, not meaning government politics, meaning personal relationship politics, or any of that stuff, because she knows that you're going to be deriving, hopefully, with your information through the Holy Spirit and bringing that
When
into the
he's
relationship
connected, yeah.
when connected. So we tend to imply a lot of the time some of these characteristics that we are always speaking about and under the umbrella of the godly relationships that through which we're speaking. So I want
Okay.
to make sure we made that point clear as we go
I'm going
into
to talk about
down here with us now.
what it means for him to be admirable, for
Yeah.
me to admire him. And the biggest one is his spiritual walk. And I'm going to tell you, ladies, the men don't always stick with it.
Nope.
Women don't always stick with it. So it's not one-sided. We're not bashing men or women here. Their
Just being real.
relationships- Right, but their relationships spiritually sometimes can be, peaks and valleys. And when they're down here, it's rough, and we need to support them and ask them to come up. And I did used to bash him because I wanted more in that area, and I learned that wasn't the way. He's definitely not going to grow spiritually if I'm
Nothing
sitting
makes you
here
want to
beating
give
him
less
up.
than them screaming for more.
Right,
It's just, I don't know
so-
why, but that just is how it works.
Okay, so an admirable man has strength, integrity, and ambition. Okay?
Yep.
He's going to be strong, he's going to have integrity, and he's going to have ambition. So strength without integrity is machismo. I'm a macho man. Integrity without strength or without Ambition is milk toast, which I don't even know what that means. I looked it up.
He's just a wishy-washy.
It's a wishy-washy person. And ambition without integrity is just an aspiring crook. So you want strength, you want integrity, you want ambition in your man. You know, you want him to want better for himself. Now, I want to stress, ambition does not mean he's rich.
No.
It means he gets up, he goes to work, he takes care of his family, he comes home, he is the dad and the husband, helps around the house, even when he's tired after a long day at work, and he's very, very fruitful in his home. That's what we mean by ambition. If he comes home and all he does is watch TV, or if he never goes to work and all he does is watch TV,
right.
There's no ambition.
No.
And really, to me, that means there's no integrity either.
Right.
There's no strength either, because he's
right.
just a big lazy bum. Those are the men I understand. That's not an admirable man,
No.
and it's going to be hard to love that one. I get it.
Yep.
So we really want to pray for our men to do this. And before he was made partner in February of this company, one of the things that I could hear, because I sit at the desk, I can hear his partner on the phone all the time.
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
I mean, we're in a big open office. There's no doors or anything. So
one
all
door.
of our phone calls, everybody can hear everything. And he's talking to someone, and he's talking about Todd. And now Todd can't hear him. And he's like, I trust Todd, and he's a man of integrity, and he's a man of this, and I've got, and oh my gosh, what was the word? I forgot. Oh. Anyway, and he's just really going on and on about Todd. And of course, I'm his wife, and I'm out there going, oh, isn't that so sweet? Tom loves Todd. So then I go in there, and I'm like, did you hear what Tom was saying? And he's like, no. And I'm like, so I'm telling him, and I'm using this to try to butter him up. Not butter him up, but help lift him up, because your men need their egos to be lifted. Because even though they have all of these qualities, if it's not pointed out to them, they're going to feel like they're a big failure. And you don't want your man to feel like he's a failure, because he's not. He's raised, in our instance, we've raised 4 beautiful children. We have our daughter has been married now for, I think 12 years this year.
Oh.
12 years, I think. Has 3 kids. They have a beautiful relationship, and the kids are all growing and great. And then we've got 3 boys, and 2 of them are married, and their relationships are going really well and good. And you can see all the things. Can you see some bad decisions in their lives? Probably, because we had them too. But that doesn't mean that we did anything wrong as parents. You know what? I mean, we raised 4 kids who are adulting quite well. I think, we have a right to be proud of that. But a lot of that has to do with him, My boys grew up to know what they needed in a wife. Well, that's because of me. Mm-hmm. But they knew what they needed to be as a husband because of him. And my daughter knew what to look for in a husband because of him. And those are things you want to help your husband display in front of the family, because that's what they grow into. So if you see bad things, and I'm going to tell a little story, and then we'll pray and be done.
There we go.
Okay, so we have a friend that has been in a bad relationship for a long time. And we have talked to this person many times and said, well, you're either going to just have to suck it up and deal with it and stay in it, if that's your choice, or leave. I mean, really, because that's your 2 options. He's not changing. And the kids were growing up watching this and becoming what they were seeing by her and by him.
Yep.
And now these kids are teenagers, at least one of them is, and that teenager is displaying everything the father has been displaying. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things. I don't ever encourage divorce, but what you display to your children, they will become. You have to be careful. Now, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to fall down. You're going to get back up, and they're going to see that. They're going to watch you fall down and get up, and they're going to have more respect for you because of that, and then they'll learn from that as well. But anyway, my whole point with that is make sure, women, you're respecting your man, you're loving your man, you're communicating with your man, you're doing all the things that he needs so that your kids are watching that. But also because he's going to take that in return to you, the love and and all of the things that you need in your life from him, because it'll help him do it.
Yeah, all the list that we just gave is the fuel that drives a man responds to those things and gives even more. So it's true both ways, obviously.
Yeah,
but
it's time for us to
we're
pray.
just saying that these are the things that will allow that to grow faster and higher
Right.
than ever before.
Right.
I guess you were segueing in what you were saying to one of the other topics you had talked to me about coming up in terms of having one person in the relationship.
Well, one of the topics, so I've been preparing several
That will be
topics for the
coming
next
soon.
few weeks, and one of them is going to be, what do you do when you have a controlling, manipulative partner?
Mm-hmm.
And there are ways that you can deal with that, but we're not going to talk about that right
Not
now.
Just saying that's
But that is one that's coming up. But you can also realize that just because somebody has manipulated a time or two doesn't make them a manipulative person.
Correct.
Like, there were a couple of times that my kids talk about it now. It's kind of funny, where I was manipulative when I bought a bird and didn't tell him. But I'm not a manipulative person.
No.
I just did once or twice. And the kids realize that, and that's why it's funny to them.
still funny.
But they still laugh at, oh, it was not funny at the time. But it is now. So anyway, we need to pray.
Yep.
I prayed over the women.
Yeah.
So it's your turn to pray over the men.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Father, I thank you and I praise you and I thank you so much for the position you've placed men in.
Yes.
And I call men to this
Me
high
too.
place to be head over the family and to be head in charge of relationships with you first, Father,
Yes.
so that the directions that we take are guided by you and your word, and that we have such a relationship with you on a daily basis that we each and every day are renewed with your word and what's best for us and our family. Because only through you can we find true direction and revelation as to the situations in our life. So I call each man to listen to that voice in the back of their head. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. You know it's there. You can ignore it a lot of the time, but I pray that presence that you have called to listen to that voice of God calling you
Yes, Jesus.
to meet with Him on a daily basis and to devote with Him and to become stronger in His Word and all the words that He has chosen specifically for you and your family, your wife, and your kids and your destiny. Mm-hmm. He has it all planned out if you'll participate.
Right.
And if you won't participate, then you'll go still work it out, but it's going to be without you in the way that He had called you to be. Let's all be that man.
Yes.
That actually becomes what it is you've been triumphantly created for. So I just ask each and every man to recognize that, step into it, and become that. Accept it, embrace it, and take the action that it takes to make it happen. Father, we just thank you, and I ask you bless each and every one, each and every
Yes.
family out there that's
Yes.
listening, and that each of their families will be just blessed and fruitful, and have a great, blessed week, and we'll meet you again next week. Thank you, Father, in Jesus' name, amen.
Okay, that ends our
Yeah.
1-year anniversary
1 year
episode.
anniversary.
So we are having a contest this week. Go find your favorite videos. Flush the Toilet was one of our first ones.
I love
There
that
was
one.
a couple of them that were really funny when we first
Yeah.
started that we've gotten more serious as we've gotten into it. But anyway, go share some videos.
Mm-hmm.
Ask your friends to like our pages. The people who get the most responses to our pages or our videos that you share the most. What?
I was just thinking about all the different ones we're doing. I'm like, yeah, there's that one.
We're
and that
going to
one.
give away a $50 gift card to whoever shares the most of our page and our videos between now and next week. And in doing so, we're also about to step it up and ramp this thing up, and we're going to be doing a lot more funny stuff. And I posted a video today on What Really Matters of us 2 years ago when Hurricane Harvey was hitting, and we were just goofing off and being silly before we ever decided that we were going to do stuff like this. But the silly things we want to do a lot more of, so we can show y'all, go have fun,
Right?
be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, y'all have a great evening, and we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.